When did your family realize you weren't a little kid anymore? I was 15 when my mom got the call that changed everything. It was a Tuesday night around 9 p.m. and we were all watching TV in the living room. My little sister Emma was doing homework on the floor, my dad was half asleep in his recliner, and my mom was folding laundry. The phone rang and mom answered like she always did. "Hello, this is Kelly." Then her face went completely white. She dropped the basket of clothes and started crying. My grandmother, my mom's mom, had been in a massive car accident. She was in the ICU 3 hours away, and they didn't know if she was going to make it through the night. The doctor said we needed to get there as soon as possible. My mom completely fell apart. She was sobbing so hard she couldn't breathe properly. My dad was trying to comfort her, but he was panicking too because he'd never seen mom like this. Emma started crying just because mom was crying. Everyone was just standing around in shock, not knowing what to do next. That's when something clicked in my brain. Someone had to take charge of this situation, and it wasn't going to be any of them. I went to my parents' room and started packing a bag for my mom. Pajamas, toothbrush, phone charger, the medications she takes every morning. I grabbed the good pillow from their bed because I knew hospital chairs were uncomfortable. Then I packed a bag for Emma, her favorite stuffed animal, some books, clean clothes for a few days. I made sure to grab her asthma inhaler and the special blanket she can't sleep without. I found my dad in the kitchen just standing there staring at nothing. "Dad, I need you to focus. Do you have cash for gas and food?" He nodded but didn't move. I went to his wallet and took out $200. I called my boss at the grocery store where I worked part-time and explained the situation. Told him I wouldn't be in for the rest of the week. Then I called Emma's school and left a message that she'd be out for family emergency. By this time, mom had calmed down enough to function, but she was still shaky. I helped her to the car and made sure she had tissues and water for the drive. I put Emma in the backseat with snacks and her tablet so she'd stay occupied. But here's the thing that really showed I wasn't a kid anymore. I made the decision that changed how my family saw me forever. "Dad, you're too upset to drive 3 hours in the dark. I'm driving us to the hospital." My parents looked at me like I'd grown a second head. I'd only had my learner's permit for 2 months. I'd never driven on the highway before, definitely never driven at night, and absolutely never driven in an emergency situation. "Ryan, you can't drive on the interstate," my dad said. "You're not ready for that." "Dad, look at yourself. Your hands are shaking. Mom can barely stop crying. Emma's scared out of her mind. Someone has to get us there safely, and right now, I'm the only one thinking clearly." I took the keys before anyone could argue. "I've been practicing with you for months. I know how to drive. I'll go slow, I'll be careful, but we need to leave now." The 3-hour drive was the longest of my life. I drove exactly the speed limit the entire way. I kept checking on everyone, making sure mom was okay, keeping Emma calm by playing her favorite songs. When mom started crying again, I pulled over at a rest stop and got her some coffee and told her grandma was tough, that she'd be okay. We made it to the hospital safely. No accidents, no problems. When we walked into the ICU waiting room, my mom turned to me and said something I'll never forget. "Ryan, I don't know what we would have done without you tonight. You took care of all of us when we couldn't take care of ourselves." My dad put his hand on my shoulder and said, "You're not our little boy anymore. You're a young man who stepped up when his family needed him." Even Emma hugged me and said, "You were really brave tonight, Ryan." My grandma ended up being okay. She had some broken bones and a concussion, but she recovered completely. But that night changed everything in our family. From then on, my parents started including me in important decisions. They'd ask my opinion about family stuff, trusted me with more responsibility. When my dad got laid off 6 months later, they sat me down and explained the financial situation honestly, like I was an adult who could handle the truth. When Emma was having problems at school, they asked me to help figure out what was going on. But the biggest change was how they talked about me to other people. I'd overhear my mom on the phone with her friends saying, "Ryan really stepped up during the emergency. He's so mature for his age." They stopped treating me like their kid who needed to be protected from everything and started treating me like part of the family team who could help solve problems. That night when I drove my family through their worst crisis, I proved I could handle adult responsibilities, and they never saw me as just their little boy again.